life on the right side. You can make it life with the right vibe. We're not quitters. Let's go. Personal growth with the side of
Hey, honey. Oh, wait. I didn't do it.
Oh, you want me to do it?
Yeah, I did love it. Well, you don't have to.
We're good.
You
We're good.
you don't want to? Okay, that's want to. Hey, honey. Welcome back to the Hey, Honey podcast, the space for all conversations. As you all know, we like to start our episodes with a little drop of honey, so here it goes. Sometimes you just got to let people know. I realize I tolerated that in the past, but that's not going to work for me in this season or ever again. Mm-hmm. Talk about it. 2 snaps around the room. Okay, y'all. So what we're going to focus on in this episode is emotional wellness, self-image, and how those things tie in together. They will never be separate. And so how we view ourselves based on society standards, our own family culture impacts how we show up in life and how we feel about ourselves. And it takes a huge impact on our mental wellness. And so we're having that conversation today. I am joined by Todd, and he's going to introduce himself.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, honey.
Well, as she said, my name is Todd. And right now my focus is definitely on self-image, mental health, weight loss, and as well as I'm an up-and-coming life coach who will be focusing on self-image and weight loss with people. So it's become a great passion of mine. Yeah. So definitely diving into that field.
Welcome to the Hey Honey podcast, honey. I'm so glad you're here. And I'm ready to dig into this. Okay, so I think when it comes, I want for you to speak to your experience being a man and what your journey of being a man and self-image is, what that looked like together.
Oh gosh, you want to get deep?
Yeah, I want to get deep.
You want to get deep, don't you? I mean, well, certain things, it does go back to childhood. Mm-hmm. So there were images that we saw that said you needed to look like something or be like something. And as kids, sometimes we don't necessarily realize our skin color or our weight or whatever. And so as life progressed. We make up words I try
here.
to get a little proper, you know what I'm saying?
It's a progress.
As life progressed, I remember the first thing that came to mind was around 4th grade.
Okay, wow.
And you would see what people were attracted to. And then the first thing that came to my mind was like, okay, what's different about me? And going further, even into the 5th grade.
Yeah.
That was the first time someone was like, wait a minute. Because I had, a little belly started coming. I started gaining weight. And people was like, Todd's fat.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And that was the first time I became conscious of my body.
Yeah.
And even then, so it was this thing going on where people were paying attention to your weight, but the school and the area that I lived in, I'm from Macon, Georgia, people was also concerned about your skin tone. So at that time, it was like, oh, you needed to have hair this texture or you needed to be lighter skin.
Yeah.
And so I started looking at myself like, okay, you're fat and you're dark skin. You're nothing no one wants. And so that sort of weighed down on me at that time. And so even then, I shied back to how I spoke to people or any type of self-image or just celebration of myself.
Yeah, because there's a lot of rejection in that too. Because like essentially everything around you is telling you you're not enough, that you're too much of this, too much of that, or not enough of this. And then it's easy, especially as a child, because our brains are still forming, to internalize all of that and know that means something's wrong with me. And that it prevents you from even putting yourself out on the front street because you've been told you don't belong or you're not good enough or whatever. Yeah, wow.
Even with adults, because adults sometimes adults don't realize how they make an impression on children. So I still remember a teacher having kids come into the classroom and she was like, oh, hey, cutie. Oh my goodness, you're so cute today. And she got to the kid that she didn't think was so cute. And that, hey, it's like, okay, kids, they notice that, why did you call that person cute? Oh, they had their hair like this or they wore this or, they dress in certain name brands or whatever. Yeah. And so those things start to really stick out to you as a kid.
Wow. Yeah, and since the brain can't make sense of it, for most children, everything is very ego-driven. It's about me. So if something happened around me, it's either my fault or something's wrong with me or whatever. As children, we would internalize everything. But even that particular example is still so interesting because I wonder if the teacher was even mindful of how they were operating in that moment, or what message they were sending to you all as children if they skipped over someone or if they didn't celebrate someone just for simply existing and being who they are. Oh, gracious. Okay. So let's talk about this. You mentioned, weight loss, mental health. I want for you to put those things together as well. So I want for you to talk about what your journey was and feel free to share with the people how much weight you've lost or whatever. But tell me just what that journey was like and what the mental toll was in being a certain size, no longer wanting to be that size and wanting to make a difference. Just walk us through that journey.
Yeah. So just to go through, right now I've lost 200 pounds.
Huh?
Child, 200.
How many?
A whole 200.
$200.
Okay.
$200?
2 bags of potatoes.
That's more than 2 bags. You're crazy. Okay, so 200 pounds. So talk us through just what was that experience like overall?
That experience, which I'm still within that experience, but it was a point where I had to sit down and honestly have a conversation with myself because my weight has been up and down my entire life.
Okay.
And again, as we talk about mental health and self-image, it's something that men don't often talk about, especially within, the Black community.
Yeah.
So even just going back to high school, wanting to be a certain size or look a certain way or try to look like what I see people are attracted to, that led to my own eating disorders at that age. I'm literally just drinking a shake and going to weightlifting class and then going to football practice. And then even after that, going to band practice. Like you're out there in the sun all day long and you're eating absolutely nothing because the whole thing in my head at that time was, you need to be skinny. You need to be skinny. Yeah. And just naturally, I don't have a thin body. So going on into college, after freshman year, I know everyone says, you gain your freshman 15.
Yeah.
I gained a freshman 40. Okay. By the time senior year came, let me tell you, when I started college, I weighed like 210 pounds. The day of graduation, I stood on the scale and I weighed 298 pounds. I was like, okay, you have to get this together. But that mental part comes in when I have to say, okay, who am I getting this together for?
Right. What's the motivation? Yeah.
I was still at that point where it was like, well, I want to wear these type of clothes or I want to look like this or whatever. And so I went through that phase after that where I did lose weight.
Yeah.
Lost it, turned back around, went through a depression, gained all the weight back, plus another 40.
Now tell me, when we think about like that particular cycle of things, was depression already a part of life and then the weight gain intensified the depression? Or do you think that, like, how were those two things connected for you?
Something that I noticed I did was I would keep everything
stuff bottled in. Yeah,
everything was internal. So if I didn't like a situation or if something wasn't going good, I would just keep it to myself. And I was definitely a people pleaser.
Yeah.
And because I had my own self-image issues, my whole thing about life was, okay, I can make people laugh. Some people can walk into a room and everybody's like, "Ooh, you're beautiful," and this, and they automatically have that attention. But me, I noticed I could walk into a room and, okay, ain't nobody worrying about you. But if I say something funny, okay, Todd's funny.
He's a funny guy now.
He's a funny guy. Yeah. We can talk to him. And so that was my focus the whole time. But even in that, even if you're just not feeling like yourself that day, it's like, okay, well, let me say something funny. Let me do something funny.
Yeah.
And so everything bottled up inside of you. And when something happens in life and things change, depression kicks in. And the thing about depression is sometimes you don't even know that you're in that state.
Absolutely.
You're just, okay, I want to be in the bed today. I'm just going to eat something horrible.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be that you're doesn't have to be that you're pigging out on things. It's just, you can eat a candy bar. That's almost 400 unnecessary calories and a bunch of unnecessary sugar that you're putting into your body. and you're laying there. So that means there's no activity.
Yeah, yeah.
And before you know it, that 2 days of depression has turned into a week.
Yeah.
That week has turned into a month.
Blinds are closed. It's dark. It just
Exactly.
feels heavy. Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So even just to fast forward to 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So
Let's talk about that.
2020, I remember January that year. I went to the casino with my friend Rob, and I
Shout out to
was
Rob.
walking. Hey, Rob. It was crazy. We were walking down the stairs at the casino, and I could not see my feet. I could not see the steps.
Do you know how much you weighed at that point?
I was about 380 pounds.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is ridiculous. Now, who breathes hard walking down steps?
I get myself together before I came back in here.
So I remember telling myself at that point, I said, okay, you need to get this together. But again, I wasn't focused on my mental at that point.
Right. Yep.
So started working out. I went and joined a new gym. What was it? Lifetime Fitness, I believe. And working out. Dropped 40 pounds easily.
Yeah.
Because I was at the point in life where I said, if I can't lose weight, I'm going to go sit on somebody's table and tell them to chop this stomach down or something.
I don't know if that's how they do it. I know they're chopping things away.
Chop something away. But it was the fact that I got 20 pounds off. The 20 pounds, I said, okay, that was easy. Let's get another 20 pounds off. COVID hits.
Yep.
All the gyms closed down.
Hit hard.
And it hit hard. And so now I'm at home like, okay, the gym is closed, and because of my weight, that created issues with my knees. So I'm like, I can't really work out or dance the way I want to, because I used to love to dance.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I remember sitting there and I'm like, well, the gyms are open up in 2 weeks, they say. So next thing I know,
3 years later.
I'm sitting there, I'm eating just unnecessary stuff. Work became stressful. Lost 40 pounds, gained 50 pounds.
Yeah.
From March to July 24th.
Yeah.
And I still remember on July...
Wait, you lost and gained in that... You lost it?
Yes.
Okay.
So when the pandemic hit, I was 40 pounds down.
Uh-huh.
By July the 24th,
Oh, wow, yeah.
I gained 50 pounds back.
Wow, okay.
So by that point, I just remember, I don't even know what the top weight was. I know around that time, I just stood on the scale and it said 396 pounds. And I just felt over it at that point.
Yeah.
I just didn't know what it was. So I remember getting up just to go to the restroom, and my heart was beating so fast. And I said, okay, is this the moment I'm about to die?
Can't go
And
out like this.
I can't go out like
Can't go out
this.
like this.
So honestly, I sat there and I recorded myself talking, and that video is, I don't know if y'all gonna
We'll
see
insert
that
that
video.
here, you all.
We'll see. I recorded myself talking, and I just mentioned everything that I wanted to see myself do within 2 years, because I felt like I just completely lost myself. And the first thing I said I wanted to focus on was my mental health. And that mental part is, what is causing me to keep going in this cycle?
Yeah.
What is causing me to not do something for me, And one of the first things I had to do was, I said, let me release a lot of things in my life. And releasing things in your life is not ignoring people.
Right. Talk about it.
It's you have to find
Talk
a
about
balance.
that. Yes.
And that was the first thing I said, let me find a balance. If something is a little off here, I can address it. If it's not something that we can focus on right now, we can look at that in the future.
Yeah.
Give
us an example. If you would give us an example of what of one of those conversations you had to have or a decision you had to make when it came to releasing something.
Just say like with friends.
Yeah.
I have friends who are, every time they want to do something, we need to go to a club. We need to drink. We need to go around people in these house parties and things.
That you don't.
It's absolutely
do, yeah.
okay if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
But I realized that my friends at the time, and they're still my friends, I don't want to say at the time, my friends didn't really recognize what I was going through, because I always put a smile on it. And even when one of my friends called me one day, he said, hey, I'm coming to Charlotte. I'm going to this house party. I want you to go with me. I was like, I can't. I don't see myself going to a house party. And it was like, why you can't go to the house party? You should come out. You need to get out. You're always in the house. You're not a people person at all. And that was the first time I actually opened up.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going through something right now. And I don't feel like I can mentally handle being in that situation right now. And that was mentally and just self-image. I didn't want to be out around people.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, did you grasp that, or do you even understand that? And I get it, because I am that funny guy with so many of my friends, so I don't necessarily open up. A lot of my friends haven't seen that side of me. And so to them, it's a little bit weird, like, okay, it's something wrong with Todd. You know, is he about to snap? But so
they gonna call other friends, hey, I just talked to Todd. I don't know what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it was like, okay, I need to focus on that. And I said, well, maybe I need to become a person who opens up a little bit more. And that's something I've been working on.
Yeah,
and there's still many things I'm very much reserved about. You know, my friends I've had for years, they still find out something new about me every year.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
you know?
but I think that's how friendship and how life evolves, though. I mean, you have some people on the other end who spill everything about their life from the very beginning. But yeah, but I think that in that it sounds like now you're retraining yourself how to show up in friendship, while also retraining your friends of what it means to be your friend. Because people show up in our lives the way that we allow for them to as well. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm never open and someone sees, you know, there's the whole strong friend complex, which I don't think that's a real thing. But if that's what people see, then that means that's what I've exposed to them. That's all that they know. And so when something else does come along, they're not really sure how to digest it because it is so different. So retraining, reteaching, all that. Okay.
Exactly. And that put me in the point where, and I actually had a conversation with you about this, where I was like, okay, have I outgrown some of my friendships? And this is where I had the conversation with myself where, okay, there comes balance.
Yeah.
So I said, maybe, and I've always been a person, child, I'm like a lot of friends. A lot of friends, there's too many people to deal with. But I said, maybe I need to allow myself to have new friends in my life who, not necessarily you have to mirror everything that I'm interested in, but, you know, just have certain things in common that I would like to do. Because I'm the person who is, I would love to just go hiking. I don't mind just sitting around and have a conversation. I don't mind a movie night. I don't mind things like that. Every time we get together, it doesn't have to be drinking and smoking and partying.
All the things.
You know, if you want me to do that with you,
that's just too much.
I can do that with you. But I said, wait a minute, it doesn't have to be that I get rid of friends to gain something else, you know, because those are already friendships that are built. But you need to put your boundaries in about what to expect. I'm that friend who I'm not going to drink and smoke with you every day. And that is something that I've never been a person to drink or smoke or anything. But I did notice that whenever we were out, I was a person who say, okay, I'm out in a social setting. I need to drink in order to get the confidence to be around people. And I'm glad now that I have escaped that. Okay, because now it's like, okay, if I'm around people, I'm comfortable with just bringing out my regular personality. If you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't.
Right.
It's cool. And just all of those little tidbits of anxiety come from that. And I just remember being places with my friends, and they're just having a good time and just doing everything. And I would just be standing in the corner of a club just staring. And trying to figure out, why am I here? I just want to leave. And
they were fine with still just partying. It wasn't to come in, let me check on you. Oh, he doesn't like, he wants to be here. Interesting. Okay. They're not even concerned about you.
At all.
You're the designated driver.
Take a shot. Oh, Todd took a shot. He's on the floor dancing. He's good.
Wow.
You know. But it was just weighing all of that out and learning how to balance that. So even with that, I said, if new friendships happen, it happens. It's going to happen naturally. It's not anything that I'm going to try to force. Be like, oh, hey, I want to be your friend.
I probably would not want to be your friend.
Right? That's weird.
If you came on like that. Hey, let me be your friend. I got some candy. No.
But yeah, and those are just things that I've thought about every day. And so it's like, okay, making changes in your life is going to come naturally. So even going through that point in the pandemic where the gyms shut down, And we got to this point in July where I'm like, okay, I'm at the biggest I've ever been in my life, but I started this weight loss journey. What happened?
Yeah.
So I said, you know what? I don't know how much longer the gyms are going to be closed for. Mm-hmm. I got online. Yeah. I said, let me find something I can do. Mm-hmm. I found a stepper that could support my weight. Yep. Mm-hmm. I ordered that, got the stepper home. I just started doing everything bit by bit. Yeah. Like I said, I used to like to dance. Mm-hmm. So I would have different music videos that I used to like to do. Mm-hmm. And I knew I couldn't make it all the way through them because a minute into the choreography, I'm like, whoo, honey, let me get my life together. But I just took it into steps because I'm like, okay, if this week, if I can get up to, I can tell you the video. It was Beyonce's Formation video. I said, if I can get up to 1 minute into this choreography, we can do it. If I can get up to 1 minute and 30 seconds of this choreography, I'm good to go. Absolutely. You know, as the weeks went by, next thing I knew, I was doing a full video, and then I could do the choreography 3 times in a row. It was just about seeing that progression, and it wasn't about rushing it.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. That's where my mind was going, because I think that sometimes when people get it in their mind, this is where I want to be. It's like, this is all that I see. If I'm not there, then nothing else matters. But what I hear and what you're saying is the importance of like those micro goals versus it being, I can only focus on the one big thing and I need to get there now. I'm dissatisfied. I don't like this. I want to be there immediately. But those micro goals, I would imagine it kept you encouraged and focused, and it offered some structure, and you were still able to see the progression instead of trying to go from here to here and then passing out somewhere.
Exactly. Because at that point, it was me. It was more of a focus on me. It wasn't, I'm going to lose this weight so I can go to the beach this summer, or I'm going to lose this weight so I can fit into this outfit or be ready for this wedding or whatever. Yeah. I'm doing it for me. So if I lose 10 pounds this month, fine. I lost 10 pounds this month. If I lose 5 pounds next month, that's fine. I lost 5 pounds because I know in 12 months, if I keep losing either 10 pounds or 5 pounds, I'm going to lose anywhere between 50 or 120 pounds or whatever it is. So just to keep that stride going. And by the time my gym opened back up in September, I lost 50 pounds. So I lost the weight that I gained, and I walked back in the gym with the confidence to say, okay, I can keep going. So once you get that point, to the point where it's like, okay, I am keeping myself from going in the cycle, you can focus on not only your mental side of it, but you can focus on, if you want to, let me not say focus. The mental health of it for people is that they may have to find some sort of outlet. Yeah. Your outlet could be that you want to go to therapy. Your outlet could be you may want to do coaching with someone. My outlet was the gym. Gym became my therapy, but gym could not become my primary.
All right, so we were talking about outlets, and so the gym was an outlet for you, but of course, again, like you said, people can do therapy or have hobbies or just anything. But let's kind of continue in that same vein of the importance of that outlet on your journey.
Yeah, the importance of that outlet is finding balance. That may be a catchphrase, balance, because that was the issue that I had when the gyms closed, because the gym became my outlet. When the gym was taken away from me, it was like I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, there's a shock that kind of happens.
And so I had to find that balance of saying, hey, if the gym is closed, you can still do something at home to work with, whatever type of aches or pains that you have, so you can still get through your workout. And just by me being in the gym, it was calming for me. It still is, just to go somewhere for an hour and 30 minutes a day and just release.
It's a long time. I'm in 15 minutes on the treadmill at 1 times the speed. No incline.
I knew this was going to happen. Like when someone walks in the room when you're talking about.
Right. And all of a sudden everything's hush-hush.
Very good.
So I think, very good. You were spending, an hour and a half in the gym. Doing what? Because I don't get it.
So, you're going through your cardio, 50 minutes of cardio, doing my weightlifting, just working on all parts of the body. So, again, it's therapy for me. It's relaxing. If I had a tough day at work or whatever, it just...
That's a release of sorts.
I just release everything. So...
Maybe y'all, my neighbors above me apparently have 4 legs. and they run around all the time. Maybe that is a small child or an animal. It could be a dog.
It could be.
I think it's just like one human. I'm going to go up there one day and knock. Okay, anyway.
But yeah.
I was going to continue.
That's that release. So I think everyone definitely needs to have some sort of release. But again, it all comes to that balance because if you don't have that balance, certain things can become toxic for you.
Yeah.
Again, like if you're into the gym and you don't have the gym, do you know how to function outside of that? If you're going to therapy or coaching and all of a sudden whoever you were doing therapy or coaching with isn't available, are you able to function outside of that? Even with people who may go a spiritual route or get into more religious things, if you're going to a church and you say everything is good and all of a sudden you find out some things that are going on within the church organization and can you handle that, because life is going to throw curveballs at you, and finding that balance within yourself helps you get through those moments. And that is something that I think that kept me going in cycles through life, because whenever I felt like I'm starting my journey, something would happen and I would fall off.
It would set you back. You would allow for it to set you back in a way.
Exactly. And so this had to be a point where it was like, okay, it's not going to set me back. Even if, what's the term? Not necessarily a term, but if you're going to start something, start it now. And I used to go through this phase where if I fell off of something, it's like, okay, I fell off. Let's start back on Monday. Well, no.
Kind of like delay the start time.
Yeah.
Trying to have a perfect day to start. Oh, I'll do it the first of the month.
I'll do it on Monday.
This thing. But what about
it's almost the first of the month. Oh no, my friend's birthday. I know my friend's going to have food and cake, so I need to start it after the birthday.
I can cheat this weekend. Yeah.
And I did that. I paid attention to it one year because I said it was one year it happened in January. I think it was like 2017. In January, I said, don't fall off or, whatever. December came, and next thing I know, I was sitting there in December saying, okay, I'm going to start on January the 1st.
Oh, wow.
I was like, you can't keep doing that.
Wow.
You can't keep doing that. Things are going to come up in life. You may follow for a little bit, but it's okay to get back to yourself tomorrow. Just because you ate a slice of cake today doesn't mean you have to eat a slice of cake, a Snickers bar, and Reese's for the rest of the week.
Oh, it don't.
Even though it may taste good, but you shouldn't do all that.
Okay.
But again, you have to find that balance within yourself. So once I was able to find that balance, you notice, hey, the weight's coming off. You're starting to feel better.
Yeah.
You're starting to have confidence about yourself. And then, just even with people, you notice how people change around you.
How they respond.
Just simple things. Oh, hey, handsome this. Or you get on the elevator and somebody's flirting with you. Again, I'm not
oblivious.
I'm oblivious. I cannot tell if someone's attracted to me. I can't really tell if someone's flirting with me. So you're saying, I'm like, okay. And then you'll catch it later on. You'll be like,
they were trying to give me their number.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. But
again, even taking that back to what you were saying before, the rejection that's there. And so it is the idea too. I wonder if, do you know why you are oblivious to that type of thing?
Because I once you try to step out of that and say, I'm going to just be the funny guy, you don't expect anyone to actually find you interesting in that manner.
Yeah. Any other way outside of being funny.
Anyone I approach or anyone I'm around is automatically, okay, I know this is going to be a friendship.
This is the box I'm in. I'm in that box.
I'm in this box, and I'm not expecting anyone to like anything outside of that box. And even in college, right before I graduated, and it is upstairs doing whatever they're doing upstairs. Before I graduated, people, I even now, I've had people come up to me and say, hey, I was actually interested in you, but you never showed interest.
Yeah.
I'm like,
never knew.
Honey, you should have said something.
For all those out there, if there's someone you're into, speak up. Don't wait. Do not delay.
That's the whole thing. And again, everything with me, I'm still working on myself. Everything is a progression. You can't. Some people can maybe rush certain things and get to certain levels, but sometimes you have to just take your time with things and see how you can get to that level or how long it may take you to get to that level.
Yeah.
And so, like for me right now, like I said, when it comes to the mental side of it, even just opening up to my own friends. So just for an example, earlier this year, I had a little bit of a health scare. And so I had to have emergency surgery. After I had certain things went a little haywire during the surgery. So it was a little bit more intensive than they planned on it being. So instead of being in the hospital for 1 day, I had to be in the hospital for 4 days. So the second day I was in the hospital, I coded. Legit. Homeboy was about to go get his wings. Okay?
Going to glory. His flower was plucked.
But even then, just me still having the personality that I have and even opening up about things. Who called me that day? I think John and my friend Michael called me that day. Even when listen to people, y'all. Even when they called me today, they called me like after all of that happened. But just me just happened to be that funny person. It's like, child almost died today.
Yeah. They're probably on the other end.
And they're probably on the other end like,
full blown, just like,
all that happened.
Yeah.
But like even on the inside of my being, is like, I actually want to say, I thank you for calling me, because I'm actually happy to hear your voice, because it was a point today I didn't think I would ever hear anyone's voice again. But it's
what
just,
blocked you from saying that?
I guess it's just that openness part. Like, how open can you be? Because again, like I said, when it comes to men and black men in general, within those friendships, it's hard to be open about how you feel about things. And that's something that me and my friends, who she's a life coach as well, we're planning on actually putting together a event for black men where you can come together and you can actually discuss things when it comes to your emotions, your health, your self-image, sexuality, whatever you feel that you may not be comfortable talking about in certain circles, so that you can just have a comfort zone. And I think that's something that I just have to, I'm still growing in that area. Because again, I've always felt the need to be that funny guy. So, even if I feel like I'm going through something, it says, okay, child, you know what? Whole leg got chopped off yesterday.
And all right, it ain't no big deal.
And so, I think I told you the other day, one of my friends, he called me. He said, Todd, I didn't want to ask you this, but how are you doing? How are you feeling about something? Exactly. And still, just even in that moment, I'm like, oh, I'm fine. I'm cool.
Yeah, it's creating a new default for yourself. And I think that there are certain parts of you, or us as humans, that have to catch up with another part. So even as it relates to, hey, I've lost this weight, but maybe I still don't view myself a certain way. I don't view myself right now as anyone outside of the funny person or whatever. And I think that the more that those different parts of you catch up with each other, and the more intentional you are about that, there's an alignment that happens where sometimes being open will just be second nature. And not to everybody, right? But just one of those things that it won't be as vulnerable. It will still be vulnerable, but it won't be like a painful vulnerability of like, oh, I can't say this because of blah, blah, blah. Versus just like offering the information like, hey, I'm having, like initiating the conversations almost. Like, hey, it's a really tough day today. I don't need anything, or hey, this is what I need, but I just wanted to share.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to ask a question and we're going to wrap up.
Okay.
I appreciate you so much. Okay. So this is my book. It's available. Link in the bio, everybody. But so I want for you to choose a number between 1 and 300. And if we don't like the question, we'll go to another one.
200.
Oh, I thought you would say 211. No idea why, but that's okay. I was like, oh, say 211. I don't know what 211 is. Okay, 200. Oh, question number 200 reads, what type of difference are you making? You all can leave this in the comments. What type of difference are you making?
With myself or in the world?
It's so totally subjective. Whatever naturally comes to you to respond. However,
the difference I'm making is I'm not only giving myself, but giving other people the opportunity to open up and be themselves. Celebrating people with my ability to just be open with them. Yeah. So my life plans, like I told you, when I went through the whole health scare, one of the things I asked myself is, okay, what is my purpose? Yeah. So, and every time I think about it, I say, well, I enjoy helping people. I actually enjoy communicating with people. I enjoy teaching people. And when I get to this point of just being able to reach out, creating that space where men can have conversations, and it may eventually add women into the conversation as well. But but I definitely want to make sure that men can have a conversation about our feelings, our goals. You know, I feel there are so many things in life that a lot of us may have interest in, but we don't go for it because we've been taught, whether it's through our family or just what the media or friends have told us, this is what you should do.
Yeah, this is the box you're in.
This is the box
Don't step outside
that you're in. And one of the things, when I did a training with my job the other year, and they was asking me about the interest of things I wanted to do. And I said, well, I definitely have an interest in having community centers for the youth that gives them the option to look into other career paths. Because, you know, yes, you can be a football player. Yes, you can be a basketball player, but you can also own the theaters. You can own the arenas. You can be coaches. You can be the owner of the team.
Yeah, there's more options.
In media, like it's so much. You can be a news anchor, but you can also be the person who's over the studio. And so we just get these little nuggets, and we feel like this is all that we can do.
Yeah.
And we sometimes find ourselves in certain careers that are just overcrowded. But it's just about knowing that we can reach for more and not being ashamed of reaching for more.
Yeah.
Because some people look at you like, oh, who you think you are because you're doing that.
That's a whole nother episode.
That's a whole nother episode. There may be several episodes.
Yes, multiple.
But again, just to wrap all of that up, when you're just being able to make a difference in someone's life, even if it's just a conversation, helping someone out, whatever I can do just to make a difference for someone, that's what I want to do.
I love it. Beautiful. Thank you, cousin. This is my cousin. Thank you, Todd. I appreciate you sharing your story, your way, as it relates to self-image and just in mental wellness. And I love the impact that you're already making and that you'll continue to make on other people who are also on their journeys. Okay, y'all, that concludes this episode of the Hey Honey podcast. I am hopeful that this episode brought you some good news and one step closer to freedom. Peace out.
Deuces.
Sweet life on the right side. Look and make Sweet life with the right fight. We're not quitters. Let's go. Personal growth with the side.